ability to earn a living by hitting that button. And so far, it hasn't worked out that way, but it could. So the problem, though, is no institution.
Welcome the association. I was watching an old Dark Horse podcast, and quite often watch old Dark Horse podcasts. Usually they're quite interesting, and the way that Brett speaks about things is usually not time specific. It's normally principles that he speaks about, and I'm trying to work out what this button does now. Okay, that's all right. I don't need that. Got a little bit distracted. Sorry about that. So some things don't work. Right, let's see what's happening here. Maybe it's that one. Let's take that one off. With YouTube for the time being. So back to the Dark Horse podcast. So
Audience, you wrote an excellent piece about this being widespread in journalistic institutions, and worth a read. I would recommend everybody sign up for your site and look at what you're writing, because it really is like the front lines, and it's so well. But the point is, okay, The Intercept showed some sign of being able to but the way the game works, all of the institutions that showed being able to resist topple, then the ones that do show sign and some nation to resist have called attention to themselves as needing particular pressure and higher quality. ultimately they all fall. So what are we going to do when all of the voices that make sense exist outside of the institutional structure because state been compelled to go through this struggle session kind of nonsense. You know, what happens when the institutions are all captured and everybody who knows what they're part of?
Well, it depends on what field you're talking about, because in journalism, it might end up a positive process, because I think what we're seeing now, look, there was traditional media. In fact, I would argue that was one of the major factors that got Donald Trump elected in 2016. You know, journalists rarely talk about this. Papers like the New York Times rarely talk about it, but Trump really built his campaign around us, the people who are covering him. I remember I was one of the people in the, following him around, and he sort of speeches around the press as a representative of a corrupt elite that doesn't speak to the ordinary person. And the process has been growing on both the left and the right for a couple of decades now. It's been sort of a curiosity for me to watch. On the right, you start to see it. I would say in the early 2000s, and then especially after the Occupy movement, and particularly with the institutions like the New York Times, the Washington, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, they've already crumbled just as consumer operations. They were already in a bit, I would say, Joe Rogan, were becoming hugely successful just by not being that, because the audience now, and I'm seeing this with my own site, a lot of other so disenchanted politicizing that is a little bit of history of, it's not like and all the IPs and they build a whole new media companies. Going to build something, and then what's going to happen? Now we have this institutions who are sort of growing in people. I don't know if that's a press question, but it's
pointing out where I think, which at this moment, let's just say,
right.
on the attitude. One is the Joe Rogans of the world are dependent, brings his via which nullity side of it on them wheel tools, and there's almost nowhere, and you could go to, but all of the tube, and so which have this the censorious is knocking off the ball, right? We can see it even experiment wrong with at all. James Lindsay found himself the other day, years ago, or it done it if they could, very awkward. So apparent